In case you missed it, um, the liberal conservative dichotomy is complete and utter bullshit. They are two incomplete, meaningless, empty lifestyle brands that are sold to different managed segments of a population of humans. The reason why you have both a liberal ideology and a conservative ideology is because you have inherently two different types of cultures developed around different modes, how different economic components exist to function together. I think it's helpful to think about the economy as the way that it functions, as there being different nodes of either extraction or development. A good example of what would be a node of development would be any sort of urban city environment where you have lots of buildings, lots of complex tapestries of different economic goods and services being exchanged, a lot of people, a lot of needs to be met. So that means there's got to be a lot of economic activity. And I say economic in the sense that it means how you run your house. How do things move around? How does something get from point A to point B? Who's helping who? What services can you offer to someone? Then you have, say, like the nodes of extraction. That would be where people and their capitalist venture projects would go to a place where there is an abundance of resources, yet no infrastructure. And then they would build up infrastructure for the purpose of extracting those resources to further development. Now, it's not like I'm saying, oh, there's nodes of extraction and you're living in this extractive community, or let's say you're living in the development community. There's nodes of extraction and development that can exist within each framework. So if you're in a, say, a predominantly, what was the word I was using for? A predominantly developmental place, you can still have resources and reservoirs of resources to be tapped as a point of extraction within these, say, like more developed societies. That could be a bunch of poor people who are desperate to have their basic needs met. That can turn into a variety of different resources to be extracted. And when you go to, say, like the nodes that are more heavily based upon extraction, you're going to develop infrastructure to support the people that you bring out to carry out and enact this capitalist venture of extraction. And the fewer people you bring out, the less you have to pay. I'm sorry, I'm bringing money into it too soon. I'm not even, yeah, I don't want to bring money into it. I want to save that. So then you have, like, say, a company town. And then you have a song like 16 Tons, where the protagonist laments selling his soul to the company's store. In the company town. Because the company came out there and said, you know what? We've got a lot of work to do, and we need your help. And we'll and we'll make it really hard for you. But hey, people got to survive in either situation. So you have, let's say, a scenario, a culture that's built more on established, developed infrastructure. And then let's say you have a node that's based more on extracting resources to fuel the development and sustenance of, say, this area, but as well as the already developed area. And the way that you survive over here, where there's a lot, okay, I'll bring money back into it. There's probably a lot more money circulating, percolating too. Moving around. It's a very complex system. There's a lot of ins and outs, different types of transactions happening. You got a lot of different rich people doing rich people things. You got a lot of poor people just suffering. Sorry to laugh. I'm sorry to laugh. It comes from, just kind of knowing it myself. Where was I? Oh yeah, poor people suffering. And, everywhere in between. And then they go out into the extractive area, and there's not as many people. They all gotta work together and be on the same team if that project is gonna be successful. So, communities form, they grow up, this starts to develop, and then as it develops, it also becomes a source of other resources, similar to how this already developed and yet also developing more will have those kind of resources. Now, here's the deal. The people that really run things are in charge of the going back and forth. How does this get extracted to develop this? How does what's over here get this extracted? And by that I mean like people, because people who are desperate are gonna work really hard, do whatever it takes, right? Maybe head over here, survive, cultivate a culture around an industry, almost like it's being grown within a framework. And then over here you have another framework for people to develop a culture. Like a culture that grows in a dish, in a different dish. And then you say, I'm gonna go back and forth. What do we do? The way that they interact with each other gives the people who really run things their power and ability to be pretty much invisible to the people that don't see them. That's where you get your liberal and conservative ideologies. Both of them are incomplete, and they are very compatible. Because as long as extraction and development are working together and yet separated, it's almost like you have a positive and negative on a battery, and that battery is powering something. Yeah. Anyway, those are some perhaps too cryptic thoughts. Maybe not. You tell me what you think. Let me know if that makes some sense.